because we're back to review another episode of Married at First Sight. We're still on season 20 and we are now on episode 10. I'm getting through the last 3 videos that they dropped, but we're going to talk about episode 10. And what went on this episode? Wifely duties. Wifely duties. No, he didn't. No, Sean didn't start talking about I need a release and when you going to perform your wifely duties. And then he lied about it and said he didn't say it. Boy, it's on tape. Don't you know everything you doing is being taped? And Miss Nikki, honey, you ain't going untouched here because you walking around in them booty shorts. You walking around in them booty shorts, straddling this man, letting this man cup your booty. Y'all go back to my video that says, you know, you liked it. You know, you liked it. You know, these two, Nikki, first of all, Nikki likes to play hard to get and she likes to be chased. Because when you don't really like a man, you're not letting him rub all over your booty and you're not straddling him. And this is why, you know what, I'm not excusing Sean talking about, can you give me a release? I'm not going to excuse it. But I don't think it came out as far as left field as we think it did. Let's just put it that way. Was it appropriate? No. But it's not as far as out of left field as we think it is. I think Nikki, girl, Nikki, what did Prince say? Nikki. Anyway, we're going to start with them first. Of course, we're going to talk about Courtney, who's still a batshit crazy. We're going to talk about Caitlyn and why don't Caitlyn and Courtney get married and just run off and go somewhere together? Because Caitlyn's over here like, I'm with her. Caitlyn says, I'm with Courtney. To hell with you, Devin. Devin was drunk, though. We ain't gonna lie. Devin was drunk. And I'm kind of really getting sick of Marissa and Adam. I am. Yeah, I'm kind of getting sick of Marissa and Adam. All this laughing, giggling, chuckling. You guys ain't no comedy act. And none of you guys aren't even funny. And this whole season, they act like they on stage. Like Adam thinks he's a comedian. And Marissa's like his fan club. Ugh, sick of them too. But anyway, Miss Nikki and Mr. Sean, Dr. Sean. Dr. Sean said, come on into my office. Let me give you an exam. I know he ain't no medical doctor, but shoot, he want to put hands on Nikki. Anyway, they went to a picnic. They call it the the picnic of Nikki. And Nikki says, I want somebody who's going to be my best friend. And, you know, we need to work on our foundational connection, you know, get to know each other. And then Sean was catering to Nikki. Nikki loved a man to cater her. She was like, oh, good, make me a plate. Give me a blanket. Make me warm. And the minute Sean said, well, can you rub one out on me? Can you rub one out on me? She said, say what now? What? No. But Sean was like, you know, what's going to be the pathway to get you to say yes on decision day? And heck, you know what? If I can't get no yes on you on decision day, can I at least get a yes on you giving me a bit of a release? The answer is no to both, Sean. Nikki over here talking about she is hopeful. And she says, I do see a lot of compatible traits. But the intimacy piece, right? That's the part right there Nikki says she can't get with. Nikki likes to be chased, period, point blank. I'm telling you, if Nikki could trust that Sean wouldn't tell on her and Sean wouldn't tell the world that they were doing the freak Nick, okay, Nikki would go ahead and smash Sean. I know y'all don't want to hear the truth, but she would. You know, Sean's over here asking, you know, how far will we make it? She says, I don't know. But she says she needs to get out of her head. And Sean is like, well, what I'm concerned about is if you really were feeling it, would you hold back? And I think that's what Sean is picking up on. Sean told us before he was all on top of her and grinding on her. He told us that weeks ago. So what he's saying is at some point in time, Nikki pulls back. And so what Sean is saying is, you know what, don't not only give me a release, I want you to get a release too. We both got tensions. Come on, we could be here for each other. Next thing you know, Nikki started using a whole lot of big words, a whole lot of compound sentences, talking about sexual relationships, exploring dimensions, interaction to unlock material blockages. Girl, You talking about blockages in the mind, and Sean is talking about blockages down below. He got a blockage down below, and Nikki said, I got a blockage in my mind. And Nikki's giving all these politically correct terms, HR terms, like she's on a Teams call with the senior VP of her company. But as they finish this little, Nick picnic, Sean goes ahead and gets a kiss from Nikki and says, thank you for the kiss. And she says, you're welcome. You still got to thank her for a kiss? Goodness, y'all ain't making no progress. No progress. When you still got to ask for a kiss and you just can't take one, and then you got to be like, oh, thank you. I'm so happy you obliged my kiss. Y'all ain't making no progress. They end up talking about they're going to get ready to go to this mafia boss party. And next thing we know, we see the little nighttime camera. Sean done pulled Nikki on top of him. She's straddling him. He's cupping her booty, feeling all over her booty. And he's taking in the whole person. And she go, my attraction is growing. Girl, we know you're attracted. Let me tell you, the only reason Nikki is not full in with the Sean guy is because Nikki has told all her friends for now 47 years what type of guy she wants and what type of guy she deserves. And the problem is Sean, she can't take Sean home because then people are going to be like, what, girl? This is not the guy that you said you would want. I can't believe that you settled for Sean. But the truth of the matter is Nikki like a whole lot of stuff about Sean. I know y'all don't want to admit it. She like a whole lot of stuff because I want y'all to tell me, if you didn't really like a man and you really weren't attracted to him, would you be doing all this? Nah, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. When you be doing it behind closed doors, but then out in public, you wouldn't tell no one. Sean, you could be Nikki's hidden side piece. She would do that. I wouldn't be surprised if after this is over, behind the scenes, and Nikki and Sean is clapping boots. Clapping boots. But next thing you know, the next morning, Sean wakes up with his towel on. He said, why get dressed? Because I might be able to get a happy ending here. He says, after we have a good night, which means when he said a good night, what he was talking about was the touching and the feeling and the kissing. That's what he was talking about. It's not third base. It's not a home run. It's not third base, but it's not a home run, but he's getting a third base, maybe second base. He says, but after that, it gets me riled up. I'm ready to go. I'm like a stallion. I'm ready to, my desire has increased. And he was like, can we go to the next level? Maybe we can have intimacy without like intercourse. Do you think maybe you could pleasure me without intercourse? And she said, now what's that look like? Nikki, girl, you know what it looked like. Nikki talked about how she's so smart. She's so educated. But yet she don't know what intimacy, you don't know what this man is talking about. Everybody knew what this man was talking about. So he said, let me spell it out for you. How about, he didn't even go for her getting him off. He said, how about some mutual masturbation? Or, maybe you could touch on me a little bit because, he touching on her. He touching on her. He said, because I need to release some tension. We've been in this experiment now for over a month and I need some tension. And Nikki says, why don't you do it for yourself? Whatever you was doing before, why can't you keep doing that? Because I don't want to be involved. I don't want to be involved with this releasing of sexual tension. And he says, no, I don't want to do that, Nikki. That's too much like, PORN. He says, I don't want to do that. I want the real thing, Nikki. I want you. I don't want no AI character. I don't want no blow-up doll. I want you to do it. And he says, what kind of wife you gonna be? He said, don't you think you should be noticing when your man, your husband needs something? Don't you think you should be trying to step up to fulfill his needs? She said, what? Wifely duties? But you know what? She let him off easily right then and there. But later on, they was having another little night, an intimate night. This is what I'm saying. Everybody's probably mad saying, why is Sean continually pressing the sexual part? the whipped cream, the strawberries, all this other kind of stuff, blindfolded, right? But Nikki is a strong, strong woman. If Nikki didn't want to participate in this, she would say no. So y'all, I know y'all mad at Shawn for continuing to press the subject, but you got to ask yourself, why does Nikki keep saying yes? Why does she keep saying yes to it? She, like I said, she run around here in her booty shorts with the booty cheeks out. She could have had on longer pajama pants. She could have had on flannel. A whole lot more she could have chosen, but no, she pranced around that house, building up the sexual tension in Shawn, and then she go, no, don't do that. Don't do that. This girl like playing hard to get. I'm telling you, this is Nikki, girl. I hope when she leave this show, she don't keep these same tactics. No wonder Nikki ain't found what she wants, because Nikki's strategy is not good. It really isn't good. But they had a good night, with the whipped cream and the strawberries and everything else. And next thing you know, she said, I got to talk to you about that other night when you start talking about mutual masturbation. He says, that kind of caught me off guard, that quick acceleration. I don't really like no quick acceleration. I like it to go like slow and easy. And when I want, you to do something, I want you to do it. But I don't want you pressuring me talking about no wifely duties. And she's like, I felt a lot of pressure when you start talking about wifely duties. Woo, Nikki. Do y'all think Nikki's the person that would even buckle under pressure? No. Am I saying that probably wasn't pressure for her? I'm not going to say it wasn't pressure for her. But what I am going to say is Nikki don't have no problem with the no. So whatever Shawn is asking for or doing, Nikki girl, I'm not believing these two. That's what I'm saying. These two are made for each other because they actually know how to push each other's buttons. Nikki knows what to do to keep Shawn all riled up and chasing her and wanting her. And then Shawn knows what to do to press the button of Nikki to get her riled up so she can start talking about don't be giving me no pressure and slow it down. And then when he started talking about wifely duties, and then when she called him on it and he said, girl, get out of here. I didn't say nothing about that. Boy, Dr. Shawn, it is on tape. And they rolled that tape back so fast. So fast. You did it, Dr. Shawn. You did it, and you said it. He stood up here and said, I never, ever said it. I don't care how many evers you put in that sentence, Dr. Shawn. It's on tape. It is on tape. You said it. You said it. He went around talking about, ain't nobody sweating you, girl. No, you sweating her all right. You sweating her all right. But she's kind of like doing this to you. She kind of like, come here. No, stop right there. Stop right there. He said, all this up and down. I know it's up and down. People don't realize it's up and down, but I do, Shawn. I know it's up and down. And he says, I'm just exasperated. He says, I'm sexually frustrated and I'm exasperated. But I tell you, these two are pure comedy. I don't have no dislike for either one of them. I don't have no dislike for Nikki and no dislike for Shawn, because I really think that they are a lot two peas in a pod. I really, really do. But next we're going to go on and we're going to talk about, who we're going to talk about next. Let's talk about Belle Jolie and Mecca. Woo, Belle ride hard. She ride hard for her man. What I don't understand is Mecca's so offended by Michelle, but he ain't offended by that daddy. How can you let a man talk about you the way your father talks about you, but when you all offended and mad and angry, it's all for Michelle? Because Michelle said, hey, that first time I saw you, or that first incident, I felt like you were being a bit performative, but I really believe this is the real you, and I think you're a good person, and this is the person that I think that you should be. But that's who you're mad at, Michelle, who in a lot of ways actually was trying to give you a compliment. See, Mecca, all your emotions and feelings, fear of being loved, anger towards being put down and not made good enough, you're directing that to these new people like Belle Jolie and Michelle. You're mad at Michelle for putting you down. You are telling Belle and withholding love from Belle because you somehow don't feel worthy of love. The problem is, it's kind of like transference. The real problem, your real issues are your mama and your daddy, and I guess maybe your stepmama now. I don't know. But you taking all those emotions for those people and you're placing them on new people in your life. This is why you can't connect. So now what, you don't like Michelle no more? You don't want to be friends with Michelle no more? So another relationship you can't indulge in, you can't create because of trauma and drama from the past life. So now Belle comes in, riding in on her a captain save a whole horse to save Mecca, and say Mecca felt attacked, he felt attacked, and now he says he doesn't feel like, he can accept love, and then Belle Jolie said, yeah, and it messed me up now too, because now that Mecca is all in his feelings, I can't get no peen. There you go, Belle Jolie. That's going to be your entire life. Your entire life. Making up for all the hurt feelings that Mecca has out in the world every time he says someone does something to him, even though all the hurt and all the pain is from his past. But he don't want to go get mad at those people. He don't want to tell off them people. He want everybody here in the present day to bear all the brunt of it. Bear all the brunt of it. But it's a lot to see going on with Mecca and Belle. It really is a lot going on. My notes are all over the place. But let me go back up and let me finish talking. Let me start talking about, because I'm just have to go in order, because otherwise I'm gonna lose my place in my notes, y'all. Let me go back up at the top and start talking about Marissa and Adam. Like I said, I'm sick of them, all this giggling. They're not being serious. They're not answering any questions. They're not getting anything deep or serious. We still haven't heard from Adam the real reason nobody really showed up to his wedding, and and the friends that did show up, they don't even really like him because they roll their eyes. And all Marissa does is giggle. Now we know why she drank a lot. What kind of drunk was Marissa? Because right now she giggles all the time without alcohol. I kind of think it's a nervous laugh. I think Marissa is starting to realize that Adam ain't it. And instead of getting mad at him, what she does is she just giggles. Adam says they're playing some game about, what type of assumptions do people make about you that's wrong. And Adam says, a lot of people wrong assumption is, I guess they think that I'm silly, but I actually have a lot of depth, and I'm really highly intelligent. You see. So here we go again. Who are you, Adam? We talking about who is, I'm always talking about who is Tori. Who is Adam? Because at first he came off serious. Then after that, he became frivolous right here with, clothing and antics. And now he's saying people make the wrong assumption that he's frivolous, but he's really a serious person. I don't think we know who Adam is. I think Adam shows up different types of ways in order to influence his audience. And however he wants to influence you, that's the way he shows up. But who is he authentically? Whoever he is authentically, he turns a lot of people off. He does. He doesn't even like the serious conversation. He immediately tries to turn it to a sexual conversation. And then next thing you know, here go Marissa laughing again, laughing at all. Marissa asks him, hey, what makes you nervous about marrying me? And the first thing Adam says is, we're both financially together. Sound. That's what I told you. I knew that. Okay. I knew that Adam was peeping out Marissa's financial stability. And I actually think it's going to be something that he actually likes in one way, but not the other way. Because I don't think Adam is as financially sound as he tries to say he is. The other thing that I don't believe is that that he's completely comfortable with Marissa's independence. He likes Marissa's independence because then she doesn't necessarily have to ask for his money. I believe that. But where he's not going to like her independence and her ability to care for herself is once she starts making decisions for herself and not just going on along with whatever he wants. Because Adam wants a woman that does whatever he says. And in order to get a woman out here in the world to do everything you say, and basically bend her life to be completely to yours, and then you got to pay some money. That's right. You're going to have to pay some money. Working women out here working just like you, 9 to 5, making good money. They're not going to then say, great, you get complete control over my whole life. No, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you. And Adam don't want to pay the money. So he's going to have a problem with Marissa because now he realized she is financially secure, which means at some point in time, she's going to start saying no to him, and then he's not going to like the no. See, that's why Adam's got a problem. He wants a yes woman, but he don't really want to pay for a yes woman because Adam's selfish. Hear me one more time. Adam is selfish, so he doesn't really want to provide for a woman or give a woman or treat a woman. He wants a woman to say yes to him all the time. So therefore, he has a problem. He has a problem. He said in high school he was insecure because he's real skinny. That's why he works out so much. And Marissa said, oh, me too. Girl, I knew you was going to say me too, because right now everything you say to him is me too. You want to eat? Me too. You want to ride the jet ski? Me too. You want to go to bed? Me too. Marissa don't have another thought outside of Adam's right now. But I know that's going to change. I know it's going to change because I think Marissa is smarter than she's letting on. I actually think Marissa might be pretty smart. And I think this little giggling thing is something she does not to intimidate men. That's what I think. I think Marissa tries to use frivolous behavior like getting drunk, giggling all the time to throw men off and make men think one thing about her. But I think there is a serious side of Marissa. I think she's probably a go-getter in her job, and I bet you she's successful in her job. So even Marissa is, I think she's altering her personality a bit. I do. Adam said, let's just play Truth or Dare because that's really more up our alley. All this serious stuff, that's not up our alley. Let's play Truth or Dare. What's the craziest place I had sex on a jet ski? Go figure. I could have put $100 on that answer and won $200 because I already knew what it was going to be. They're not funny. They're not funny. All this changing clothes, they are not funny. So what do they say? Keep your day job. Keep your day job. We get to see Tori and Felipe. Little segment on them where we get to see Tori because Tori's sitting with her friends, telling all her friends, the atheists and the Christian. Let me tell you, that black woman did not like Felipe. That black woman was in Felipe's butt because Tori is over here saying, well, he's an atheist, but I'm a Christian. And Tori's friends are reminding her that, wait a minute, Tori, back when you used to be on online dating, any guy that didn't even say he was Christian, you wouldn't even pause on him. You would block him. But all of a sudden now you giving an atheist an opportunity. So right now they're saying, wait a minute, are you sure that you are not saying yes to some things you really don't want for your life, Tori? Right? What are you doing? Are you falling to a people pleasing mode? And next thing you know, Tori updates them on the fact that Felipe cheated before, and that she's afraid that if he gets bored with me, he'll dip out and run. And his friends say, well, I think Felipe might have a problem with hot girls. Maybe it's his anxiety. I think his friends read Felipe correctly. I really, really do. But the black girl said, hell to the no. Hell to the no, 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 no. And she said, you changing yourself too much to be with him. And he says, you mean to tell me that you say that he cheated on his girlfriend and then never told his girlfriend? Yeah, a lot of people do that. In fact, I'm like, listen, if I got any ex-boyfriend out there that cheated on me while we was together, I don't need you to come back after we broke up and tell me you cheated on me. Well, if you're going to tell me you cheated on me, then tell me when we're together. If now we're broken up for whatever reasons, I don't need you to call me up and say, hey, by the way, just want to let you know I cheated on you back in, 2021. Black girl, what you talking about? That was misplaced getting rage. Nah, don't tell me. If it's over with, I don't need to know. Shoot, live with that yourself. Don't be dumping your guilty conscience on me so now you could feel better, but now you make me feel worse about a relationship we already not together. Black girl, that wasn't no good advice to her. But anyway, I'm on here next thing we know, we hear Courtney running around talking about, I ain't never had no good sex life with no man. Then why do you expect it now? I'm so sick of Courtney. Courtney got problems. Courtney got problems. And let me tell you what Courtney did. Courtney has been complaining this whole season. But when they went to that group session and those experts asked Nick to say something personal about himself, and he wasn't able really to come up with anything really concrete or depth, Courtney has now used that as her whole reason why she don't like Nick. That wasn't it before, Courtney. Now, and all of us, before, your problem was he wasn't fun. He wasn't lighthearted enough. Now, just because the experts called him out on this particular aspect, this is now what you're using to say that he's so surface level. Girl, you was asking him to be surface level the whole time. You didn't really even want to go deep. You were the one that says you don't even like to go deep. And now all of a sudden you mad because he ain't deep enough? Ugh. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. They get to this mafia party and Felipe's hosting everybody. And Felipe said, I'll pay for the drinks and the appetizers, but y'all got to pay for your own dinner. He said, I ain't giving all this free food away. No way, no how, but I'm going to pay for these drinks. And let me tell you, pay for those drinks. And Devin got his money's worth. Felipe. Devin got his money's worth. But at this dinner party, Miss Courtney goes over to Michelle and Caitlin and says, y'all sit on either sides of me. And they said, well, wait a minute, where's Nick going to sit? And Courtney said, he'll get over it. He'll understand. This girl's a mess. She's horrible. She's not a good person. She really isn't. And then when Nick said, wait a minute. No, first she went over to Nick and pretended like it happened organically. Like, oh, it looks like Michelle and Caitlin sat down. Girl, you told them to sit there. But then you went over to Nick saying, well, what do you want me to do now that they sat there? What do you mean? Why are you asking Nick what you want him to do? You the one that orchestrated this whole thing. So you are not only crazy, you're not a good person, and now you're a liar. And now you're trying to pretend as if this was some organic sitting arrangement and you actually arranged a sitting arrangement. And then when he spoke up and he said, no, well, I really would like to sit next to you. Then she's like, okay, I guess I'll go move him. And then she comes back and says, well, I cleared everyone just for you. You didn't clear. Girl, you are horrible, Courtney. You find every reason. In fact, Courtney, I'm starting to figure out that I don't think it's just that you don't like Nick. Courtney, I think you don't like men. That I'm going to go a step further. I think you got a problem with men, period. I don't think it's just with Nick, because honestly, you kind of went on Mecca in the group session. And then tonight, you go in on Devin. She goes in on Devin so badly that, and listen, let me say this about Devin. Devin was drunk. Did Devin press that conversation for too long? I think he did. I think Devin needs to know how to read a room better. And I don't think he always reads the room. But I can say this about Courtney. She's just a mean person. So even when Devin was drunk and maybe Devin was trying to make a point and Courtney wasn't willing to hear it, did he press too hard and keep going? Yes. But he also did it with a person who's already got a mean spirit, period. And so he got the wrath. He got the wrath. And he tried to tell Courtney, this is a two-way street. You can't be expecting things from Nick and then you're not also giving those. And basically in the end, Courtney said, leave me the F alone. Leave me the F alone. And then she started ignoring Devin and texting on her phone. And he said, why are you texting? Why are you not paying attention to me? And she said, I don't need this BS on my birthday. So leave me the F alone. And you MFer, that MFer, she called her own husband an MFer. That MFer let me sit out there and be vulnerable. And then he didn't say anything. So you mad, you got all this rage. You got all this rage because he didn't come up with something. That's what I'm saying. You like a dog on a bone now. This has now become your reason why you hate Nick when you've hated Nick all along, right? So once again, you're trying to gaslight people to think this is the reason, this is it right here, and we know it's not. And then she went off on Devin and said, if you want to take his side, then F you too. F you too. She says, I deserve to be loved. Oh my gosh, let the trauma come out. I deserve to be loved. Okay, first of all, Nick is trying to love all over you. Why are you equating that because he did not say something personal about his life, that means it's translating to you don't deserve to be loved? So now you're just talking about anything. This is what I said about Courtney. Her brain is so scattered, she don't even stay on topic. We are talking about Nick is trying to be with you, sit next to you, touch you, but somehow or another you're screaming in this room about how you deserve to be loved. He's trying to love on you. So how does this equate? Now you're saying, oh, you don't feel loved because he didn't share nothing for you and he left you being vulnerable? Girl. And then she go over there running and screaming at Caitlin, talking about control your husband, control your boy. Courtney don't respect men. Maybe that's why she want all them muscles, so she can be one. I'm starting to think Courtney want to be a man. I said it. I'm starting to believe she want to be a man, and she mad at all these men. And then Caitlin comes over there, sits between the two of them, and then she made a mistake. Caitlin made a mistake. When Courtney said, now I understand how you can't effing live with him. There you go. Courtney wouldn't be no friend of mine. I would not confide in Courtney, because what Courtney just did was she exposed to your husband what you said behind closed doors. And I believe Caitlin said it. Caitlin said, I can't live with him. She said it. And now Courtney exposed it. Did you hear it, Devin? Did you hear what your wife is saying? You better believe it. And then Caitlin comes over there and sits between the two and says, I can't take your side, Devin. I can't take your side because that would make me look stupid to pick you over Courtney, and I've only known you for 2 weeks. Well, girl, Caitlin, you only known Courtney for 2 weeks too. So you've only known both people for 2 weeks. One is a girl you met and one is a person you married. But yet, even in this moment, you can't find a way to thread the needle so that your husband don't feel as if you kicked him underneath the bus. Girl. So you chose your 2-week girlfriend over your 2-week husband. Devin was drunk. He was drunk. That's what I'm saying. I can't let him off the hook completely because he was drunk. He had too much. All that free alcohol from Felipe. But next thing you know, he's coming into the house afterwards. He was doing too much. Caitlin was done. She said, you leaning up against the door. You drunk. I'm dealing with a 5-year-old. And she said, you want me to trust you as a leader? It's never going to happen. Never, ever, ever. And that was the true feelings of Caitlin. That was it right there. That was the true feeling. That what came out said, it's never going to happen, Devin. The next day he tried to apologize and say he was hungover and tried to clean it up. And she explained that she's been in a lot of traumatic relationships in which there was also some substance abuse going on, and she was triggered with his drinking. I understand it. I understand it all. And she said, I'm happy to make amends if this isn't a pattern. And, but basically she's saying is, I need you to lead. And, but you just said you never follow him. And then when you guys were at the dinner, he was trying to lead you and you said no. So which is it, Caitlin? Do you really want to lead? Do you really want him to lead? Or do you really want him to follow you? I think you want him to follow you. Yeah. You're happiest when he does what you want. That's when you're happiest, Caitlin. You're really not happy when Devin chooses a behavior or does anything for himself. You're only happy when he behaves and reacts the way you want him to react. So she was happy for the flowers, and she was happy he took accountability, and she was happy that he didn't ask her to do anything. Nothing at all. She get to stay right where she is. But we got to see Paul Brunson and Mecca and Bel Jolie, and Mecca told Paul Brunson, I felt attacked. See how Mecca got words for everyone but his daddy? Mecca can sit there in front of Paul Brunson and say, I felt attacked by you, which is fine. I'm okay with it, but you can't say it to your daddy. That's a problem. That means out in the world, Mecca, you're going to take out all your anger, all your hurt, all your pain from really what's rooted in your childhood and even now in your adulthood, and you're going to take it out on everyone else around you. That's why I said, Belle Jolie, this is too much for you. You're not going to be able to handle it. He went on and said he was open, he was vulnerable, he was honest, and said it was thrown in his face. Well, I know, because that's how you feel with your family. That's what they do to you. He felt attacked. And you know what, Mecca, but what you got from Dr. Brunson, which you probably don't get from your daddy, is you got an apology. He said, I'm sorry. He says, but I was trying to shake you. I really was. I was trying to shake you out of this comfort zone because I'm trying to move you in a different direction. And he said, well, what are the walls, Mecca, that you're working on bringing down, since you believe that you have some of them? Because Mecca admitted, I got walls. I got protective walls. The walls of Jericho are all around me because I don't want to let no one in. And he says, well, I guess the walls are allowing a person to love me, And he could see himself falling in love with Belle Jolie. And Belle Jolie just lit up. You could see her light up. She's been waiting to hear that. And he says, I've never been in love, but he could see it with Belle Jolie. And Belle Jolie, she lit up. He said he was scared. He was scared to fall in love. He said that when he used to see his dad, he used to see other people with their moms, he was jealous of it because he wished he had a mom, and he felt he wasn't worthy or deserving of love. So now Belle Jolie got to be a mama too. Belle Jolie already came on here with 3 jobs. Now she got to lift him up from all the harsh words his daddy says, and now she got to be a mom too. Belle Jolie is almost up to her 10th job. And what does Mecca have to do? Nothing. You see, this is what happens when you're with a person who has so much work to do. There really is nothing left for you, because all their strength has to go to just healing themselves. They don't have any energy to really nurture you because they're so weak. It's like a sick person. You've ever been in the house with 2 sick people? It's hard for 2 sick people to care for each other, right? Because they're just, you're both weak. And in this particular case, Mecca's so weak, he's got nothing for Belle Jolie. And he says, Mecca, I see you sabotaging this relationship. That's what Dr. Brunson said. And because you don't feel like you're enough, you're going to sabotage it. And, we need you to choose out of love and not choose fear. Right now, your behavior is you're doing things because you're fearful, but you're not running to love, right? You're running away from love because you're afraid of love. 2 biggest emotions are fear and love. And honestly, I think fear sometimes wins more than love. And what Becca's doing right now is the fear in him is saying, nah, don't trust it. Don't trust it. And Paul tells Belle Jolie, I think you're already in love with Mecca. And Paul Brunson, guess what? I agree. Belle Jolie is already in love with Mecca. And if she ain't all the way in, she 95% there. All she would need to tip her over would be for Mecca to give her the assurance she needs. But inside, I think the seed is already there. I agree with Paul Brunson. She doesn't verbalize it. But if Mecca verbalized it on his own, then she would verbalize it. But then Paul Brunson says something that I don't agree with. And that was, hey, Belle Jolie, don't hold back. Go ahead and let it out. I don't agree. You know why I don't agree? Because once again, Belle Jolie has to go first. She's got to do everything. Once again, Belle Jolie has to carry all of the courage and all of the weight for love. That's too much to put on her, and that's unfair for her. She shouldn't always have to be the one going out on a ledge, wanting to have sex first, telling the man she loves him first, doing everything first because Mecca's so weak. That is unfair to Belle Jolie, right? Now, do I agree it probably would help Mecca? I do, but I think it's unfair to put her in that role all the time in this marriage. I do. I think people have to make Mecca have courage. He first needs the courage to speak up to that daddy. That's the first thing. Forget about telling Belle Jolie you love her. The first piece of courage I want to see from you, Mecca, is go talk to your daddy and tell him how you really think. Just like you told Paul Brunson how you felt, just like how you talked about Michelle, how you felt. I need to see courage to you go tell your daddy, because this is what I believe. You don't need Belle Jolie to coax Mecca out of his fearful shell. What Mecca needs to do is go get some courage. And once he gets courage over there, then when he comes over here with Belle Jolie, he'll have the courage to tell her he loves her. Okay? That's what I believe. No. Don't be an enabler. Everybody coddling Mecca out here in the outside world because of his trauma. Make him grow up and make him confront his abusers. Okay, because he's emotionally abused. He needs to confront his abusers and stop confronting everyone else. He needs to stop withholding love from everyone else, and he needs to go withhold some love from them folks over there. Let me just say it. And I still say it. I don't even know the mama's whole story, so I'm not going to tell the mama because I believe that mama left because of that daddy. So the person he really needs to confront is that daddy. That's who he needs to confront. Even if he's got to give up that family business, he needs to do it. He needs to do it. But we saw a little bit more of Cameron and Michelle. We found out Cameron owns a whole condo. So we're really starting to see not only does Michelle make more money, she got more assets. She got a roommate though. And that roommate says, what does this mean? Am I going to get kicked out? Because that roommate said he got a good deal going. It's probably a 2-bedroom condo. He rented a room for Michelle. So Michelle's going to have some. She says, listen, Cameron, you really don't make a whole lot of money. So you think I'm going to kick out my roommate for you? All three of them going to be living up in that condo. I'm going to be the first one to tell you that in that condo, Cameron and Michelle that roommate going to still stay there because Cameron going to have to figure out his living arrangement. He ain't going to be there a lot of the times. And that roommate, you ain't going to get kicked out yet. You ain't getting no 30-day notice. You going to stay there because Cameron's like, I'm not giving up this money because I just found out you don't even make nothing but $75,000. So no, I ain't giving up this money. But Cameron's figuring out how talented Michelle is. She paints. She's smart. She's got a good heart. She got a good paying job. I hope Cameron don't have no big ego because we talk about, this is what I'm talking about. People say people can get intimidated. Cameron don't look intimidated right now. He really doesn't. He looks like he's all for it and looks like he's going to give her, she ran on talking about she want a man with swag. And even Cameron had to tell her the kids don't even say that no more. So you want something from 10 years ago. There you go. There you go. But we got to see more with Nick and Courtney hashing it out. You know, he's talking about how he tries to be nice. You know, she talks about how she never had a healthy relationship, but yet she knows how to sit on here and say everything about Nick. And I'm just sick of Courtney. You know, she was so hurt. She was insulted because he didn't open up. So everything you've said to Nick, let me get this right. You told your family to grill him. You told your family, let's talk shit about him. You sat there and talked about him to your friends that you don't even want to be around him. You know, 24/7, every day, you don't want it. But now all of a sudden, Courtney, you're insulted because your husband couldn't come up with a vulnerable thing to say. Maybe he didn't want to be vulnerable in front of you. You ever thought about that? Who the heck would want to be in front of Courtney, the bodybuilder, the He-Man? I wouldn't reveal nothing vulnerable about myself to her because you know what? I can't trust you with my vulnerability. You talk about me all the time behind my back, say nasty things. That the Dr. Liz told her you need to soften up. You see, and then you know what she did? Oh, fine. Let's just kiss. Let's just kiss. You only did it because Dr. Liz put her foot on your neck. You didn't want to do it, Courtney. You're not even feeling it. There's no emotional safety, no physical connection, nothing. And you talking about what he needs to give you. She's insufferable. She's going to be single for a whole long time. Maybe forever. Maybe forever. She don't, oh yeah, I know I don't create a space. Girl, you don't create a space or a safe place. Danger, danger. You are danger. And you are stranger too. You stranger danger. Nick need to run. Nick is just on here to make it to the end. Nick ain't going to say yes to this woman. Ain't no way Nick is going to say yes to this woman. She knows how to talk about how she's the victim, but she is the abuser. I'm so sick of it. Just sick of it. She's a liar. She's a liar. So next thing you know, she'll be, fine, we can kiss. We can kiss. we can kiss. He just get crumbs. She gives him crumbs, peanuts. And she's talking about, I look forward to kissing you more. No, you don't. You just said that in front of the Dr. Liz. You're going to go right back to talking about him. I'm pretty sure right after this, you're going to call Caitlyn and talk shit. I'm pretty sure of it. But anyway, that's all I got, y'all, for this episode. I will see you. I'm going to go watch episode 11. I'll see you back here. Bye.